I think the most difficult part was just was coming to I guess coming to terms with the fact that something that both of us had anticipating since at least we were teenagers growing up, and we expected that eventually we were going to have our own children. Coming to terms with the fact that that was not going to be the way our family was going to be made. I like to plan things out. I had this all planned out. I was, at age 26 or something, I was going to have, my own family. We were going to, have our own little house out in the, in the suburbs, and we were going to have our own, one dog and two kids, but then we found out that that's not how it was going to work, and it was very hard for me, one, to come to terms with that, and then two, to come to terms with that. Well, I was dealing with my own grief, trying to help Lee come to terms with her grief as well. The thing we heard most frequently was that something to the effect that, well, my great aunt Mill couldn't have kids back in 1977, and this is what she did. So why don't you try looking into this, or uh, and things of that nature, and done in the best of intentions. I know they were done in the best of intentions. They weren't meant to hurt, but they it certainly it was not helpful at all, because every situation it, with infertility is so very different. I think the number one the most important thing that you could say, if you know the person uh, is going through this, is, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here to listen if you want to talk about it whenever you want. And then actually be there to listen, and don't give advice, just listen. Um, and understand that they may not want to talk about it. They may want to talk about it at some point, but it may not be when you're ready to talk to them. But I think that's the most important thing, is to say, look, I'm here. If you want to talk about it, I'm willing to listen. That's, I think, the most important thing you could say. You've got to be there for each other, because there are some days that your spouse is not going to want to get up in the morning, and you've got to be there to understand that, and to love them anyway. And there's because the next day you may not want to get up in the morning, and they're going to need to be there for you. Um, Going through this can either completely sink your marriage, or I think it can really make a marriage stronger, depending on how you deal with it. And I think being there and communicating with your partner is is vitally important. If you don't communicate with your partner, I would say probably 90% of the time that something like this is going to put an unbearable strain on your marriage.